Venus conjunct the Sun in the horoscope, and you can find out probably around 30% of human beings have Venus in the same sign as the Sun in the horoscope. And you can find out if you have Venus in the same sign. You can go to my birth chart calculator, for which I'm putting a link. Enter your time, place of birth, even if you don't know the time, is okay, and see if you see the sign of Venus, which is VE, together with the Sun, like I'm showing you here. This means that Sun and Venus were together in the same square or triangular, which means they're in the same sign. And the closer they're together, the more intense this conjunction is. And what does it mean to have this? Well, actually, Venus and the Sun are enemies together. They have cross purposes. So having them together in the same sign can create some difficulties. And many people will have them together in the same sign. And the closer they're together, the more difficult the situation, the more intense and prevalent those issues that I'm talking about will become. And why are they at cross purposes? Well, the Sun is our goals and ambitions and high ideals. Sun is the king, the achievements that we have, while Venus is the planet of compromise and relationships. And you know how always these two clash when it comes to career and relationships, how they always come to each other's path and how they clash. Well, there is a similar situation here. Such people who have Venus with the Sun, first of all, depending what sign they are in some signs Venus will be stronger, so the person will sacrifice ambitions, which is the Sun, and certain goals and career plans for relationships. In the signs which Venus is strong, is like Libra, is the sign of Taurus, is the sign of Pisces. Venus is quite strong. The sign of Capricorn and Aquarius. In those signs, the Sun is weak, but Venus is much stronger. So in most cases, if you have this conjunction in those signs, you will make some sacrifices of your goals and purposes, and your maybe career sacrifices for a relationship. Maybe you won't take a job because of a partner, because your partner has to move and you're gonna move with him to a different country. Or maybe because of having family in a relationship, you have to sacrifice a career or something similar to that, or some goal, something you wanted for a long time. Or you might have Venus and the Sun in signs where Venus is weak and the Sun is much stronger, like in Aries when they're together, in Leo, in Cancer, Venus is much weaker and the Sun is stronger, in Scorpio as well, in Sagittarius as well, and in those cases, when you have in Gemini, I think in Gemini Venus is the equal strength. But when Venus is stronger than the Sun, when Venus is weaker than the Sun, then you make sacrifices in regards to the relationships because of career goals and plans. For instance, I have Sun and Venus in Aries. And Aries, Venus is weak there and the Sun is very powerful because it's exaltation sign. So often I've sacrificed relationships because of my goals of pursuing what I want. Like I moved from my country and left a boyfriend there because I had bigger plans for myself. And the Sun is your goals and dreams for yourself, your big achievements that you want to go after. So such a person, when the Sun is stronger as with Venus, they'll sacrifice relationships and they'll not be willing to make so many compromises, but their relationships will suffer because of that, but they would go after those goals and career purposes. But whenever you see the Sun and Venus together in the same sign, it's what we call the Sun is the king. It feels best when it's alone in a sign. You don't want to be too close to the king because you get burned. The Sun combusts a planet when it's close to it, when it's in the same sign, so it agitates it. So no matter what sign your Venus is in, together with the Sun, there will be some agitation in regards to relationships. Things will be, in ancient astrology, they call it the divorce combination. It's not true, but people tend to have a fair share of relationships which are a bit more agitating, which are a bit more disturbing. It's not, the relationship life is not as smooth as someone who has a Venus which is far away from the Sun. So there will be like more and sacrifices that have to be made because the Sun purifies whatever it touches. The Sun burns away. Basically, if you're born with the Sun and Venus together in the same sign, the universe or God wants you to purify the Venus-related fields of your life, which is relationships. So you purify through suffering, usually. This is how purification is done. Through suffering in regards to relationships, through making sacrifices. Whenever the sun is with another planet, the person tends to make sacrifices in regards to that planet. But if the sun is weaker, then those sacrifices that the person has to make will not be so big. But if the sun is very strong, then the sacrifices are quite strong. So as we said, you do sacrifice in regards to relationship, but also the sun hides whatever planet it is with, because the sun is so bright, its light blinds, and when the sun and Venus are together, you never see Venus, you see only the sun, because the sun is much brighter. And because it hides Venus, you can be hidden in regards to Venus things in your life. Basically, you can have hidden relationships that no one finds out, or you can get involved like in maybe affairs. Sometimes it's not a combination for cheating, it's not at all, but you can get away with having quite a private hidden life in regards to relationship. And often women or men with this combination can have hidden relationships, maybe with someone who is already involved, or maybe that the relationship cannot be said outright. It's not always that they have it, but at least once in their life they tend to experience this when the sun and Venus is together, especially when the Venus is very close to the sun, because it's very much burned and combust, it's very much invisible. But Venus can be extremely strong when it's in the same sign with the sun, when it's retrograde. So if you see next to your Venus, V, a big R, it means that Venus was between the sun and Earth. So Venus was here. So Venus was much closer to Earth. So if your Venus is retrograde, then the Venusian qualities become very powerful in your life. You become very artistically inclined. You become very artistic. Venus is the feminine qualities, and love can be quite powerful, even though it will still be more agitated and it might be more ups and downs, but the love theme will be much more productive than for people who don't have a retrograde Venus. Even though modern astrology tells you the opposite, you have retrograde Venus moving backwards, it means your love life is stalling. It's not true. It's the other way around, because Venus is much closer to the Earth, so Venusian affairs become so more important to you. Relationships, love, art. But whatever happens, the sun, when it's with the Venus, it refines the quality of Venus, because it burns them, it purifies them. So a person can become more refined in regards to relationships. They're usually quite attracted to Venusian things, and they can even have careers which are Venusian, because the sun often signifies career, and which are Venusian. So if these things are, for instance, more artistic, something to do, work with women, work with feminine energy, counseling, advising, Venus is the planet of counseling and advising, and such kind of something which is about harmony, balancing, beautifying, these are Venusian type careers. So some Venus people are very much attuned to this type of careers, and they understand them well. And but when it comes to relationships themselves, this is when things are a little bit more difficult into the life of the person. But still, they can have marriage, they can be happier, but always there is this kind of a sacrifice that they have to go through, and a bit more of an agitation in regards to relationship that they go through. Thank you.